Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals Draft Podcast brought to you by our friends at OG's. OG's Flavoring Fridays. Huge shout out. Official sponsor, partner of PHNX. Not your average cannabis-infused gummy. They absolutely knock it out of the park when it comes to flavor. And the effects of the gummies, they're a slam dunk too, as is this podcast, Bo Brack. Check them out, ogbrands.com. Check us out here, your premier draft podcast as it relates to the Arizona Cardinals, Bo.
Yeah, with the Arizona Cardinals only 3-10 on the season during their bye week, you're looking for something to spice up, maybe flavor the 2023 campaign for the Redbirds, and the NFL Draft certainly does it. It's the OG's brand way to kind of infuse flavor into this. I know it's exciting under a first-year head coach, first-year GM, and trying to figure out about Kyler Murray and the rest of this roster. But having 2 first-round picks, Johnny, that gets you fired up.
I'm fired up for all the props that come on our respected favorite gambling partners like BetMGM when those become available. Now, right now, you can dabble with a little bit of like first, second, third overall pick, which I absolutely love. I love like when we get in the second and third round talking about like this position to this team. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be something that we're going to discuss all draft season. We're also going to talk to you about Heisman odds right now. We were talking about a Bo Brack off air. Jaden Daniels with our friends at BetMGM, the prohibitive favorite to take home the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, the jump that he's made since his days here in Tempe, playing in our backyard for the Sun Devils, where he was putting up modest numbers, man. I mean, like, we're talking 15 touchdowns, 17 passing touchdowns. You knew about the athleticism, but you never envisioned him becoming kind of the complete package that he's been this season at LSU. Now, I'm a little skeptical that that's going to translate to the next level. And we'll ask our guest coming up here, Trevor Sikema from Pro Football Focus, about that. But Jaden Daniels, legitimate, like the front runner betting odds on favorite to take home the hardware there in New York this weekend.
Yeah, I can't even get even money on it with our friends at BetMGM. Now, you can dabble with plus 300 plus on like a Bo Nix or somebody who I still think, is worthy of the award. But Jaden, like 50 touchdowns, 4 picks for LSU and the Tigers this year. Just unbelievable. What else is unbelievable? The offers from BetMGM right now. BetMGM at $1,500 first bet offer. Signing up with that bonus code PHNX. Again, new customers, download the BetMGM Sportsbook app or visit BetMGM.com. Sign up at least 10 bones into your account, place your first wager, and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. If it loses, you lose, you're a winner. Where else is that going to be? Sign up for BetMGM, bonus code PHNX, 10 up to $1,500 back after your initial wager has settled. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to my guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
Of course, the future's bright for all 4 of those Heisman candidates that were esquired to New York. So much so, I want to dabble, put some of that money that they're going to earn at the next level on some Shady Rays sunglasses. Of course, Shady Rays, official sunglasses partner of PHNX and PHNX Sports, PHNX Cardinals. Use the promo code PHNX to get 50% off 2 or more pairs of sunglasses. Yes, the deal continues. Go to ShadyRays.com. It's a world-class product, of course, independent sunglasses company that has a price point well below $100. So you can save some money. You can load up on some great Shady Rays swag and course, protect your eyes. We're out there adventuring. Check them out right now, shadyrays.com, their full product line. Put in that PHNX promo code. That's going to save you 50% on 2 or more pairs of premium polarized sunglasses. They've got an insane protection and replacement plan. You break them, you lose them, they're going to replace them, no questions asked, long or shortly after you purchase them. Check out why 250,000 plus people are rating them 5 stars. ShadyRays.com. Use that promo code PHNX. I feel weird. It's like when you have a favorite actor, maybe just favorite athlete, and you're willing to just watch them on anything, right? You've got like, they go on Conan, or they go on like the Tonight Show, or they're doing a Sports Center, like Sunday Conversation, you watch. And I feel like that's what I'm going to be Saturday night with Marvin Harrison Jr. Am I setting myself up to be completely my heart ripped out of my chest cavity if the Cardinals play themselves out of MHJ?
It's, I think it works the best. Like the year Kyler Murray won the Heisman, like I was not keyed in on Kyler Murray. I don't know about you at the time. Like I was very much in the thick of rocking my Josh Rosen jersey.
Right, the chosen Rosen
field. Yeah, I wasn't even in the same realm. So like that almost works better when you're grossly naive, like I was back then. But I think, yeah, at the end of the day, I think Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm set up to be pleasantly surprised if he becomes an Arizona Cardinal, but I'm not expecting it. Like I feel like after Sunday, this team, and it's so crazy how this changes week to week, isn't it? Like we knew this was going to be a roller coaster when Kyler Murray came back, give this team a shot in the arm, but very much like Marvin Harrison Jr. became the lock of the century, and we're barely scratching the surface with these quarterbacks too. Oh, they could be picking 6, 7, or 8 if they beat the Chicago Bears on Christmas Eve or Seattle in week 18. I mean, it is so touch and go, but I think Cardinal fans can take solace, Bowen, knowing this is a blue chip class. Like last year, the Cardinals did the wise move. They took some sure thing meat and potato players and doubled down, sometimes tripled down on the 2024 NFL draft.
And looking ahead to the 2024 draft for the Arizona Cardinals, they are just flush with picks. We're going to bring on a guy from Pro Football Focus, PFF, Trevor Sikkema, one of the best in the biz, for my money, the best. Trev, what's going on, my man?
I'm doing great, guys. Appreciate you having me on the show, as always.
I remember we were with you at the Combine last year, and we were talking about the top of the draft, and you were very much in the camp like, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson Jr., these are the best players. And then there was a little bit of a drop-off, right? Fair or not. Like we liked Witherspoon, some of these other guys, but like contextualize it for our listeners, if you could, the difference between the two classes. Because this year, I felt like this time last year we were hearing about like 2 to 3 guys. This year there's like 10 dudes who feel like blue chippers, at least to me.
Yeah, I don't know how many blue chip guys I'll have when it's all said and done, but I know it's going to be more than it was last year. So I think a lot of those teams that are picking within, let's just say, the top 8 are going to do so a lot more confidently, where, Arizona, they're picking up high during the order, and, we see them work their magic, trade back and then trade back up. I thought that Monti did a really great job kind of navigating what was in front of him for the 2023 draft. And then, like you guys just said, being able to get a lot of ammo for this class, because that's what all sorts of NFL scouting staffs do. You never know exactly what the next year is going to hold, but you can have a good idea. Your scouts are hard at work all year long, and they're not just scouting the guys that are currently in this class. They're looking forward as well. So I thought they did a great job realizing the 2024 class had a chance to be a lot better than that 2023 class. And that has manifested. That is the case. I'm going to go through a lot of my final regular season film review for a lot of these guys over the next, I would say, month and a half. And I'm going to come away with a lot more first round grades, I already know it, than what I had last year. So like I said, if you are one of those teams that's picking in the top 8, you're going to do so pretty confidently this year.
By the time you're done with it, the Christmas tree behind you will be a different color. It'll probably be brown, but you'll be more well-informed. You're already very well-informed. What are you seeing early on as you kind of just begin this process? And you're always dialed in, but the strengths of this draft so far?
Yeah, fortunately for teams, it's a lot of the premium positions. Okay, quarterback beyond maybe those top 2 guys, there's an argument for some players. Everybody loves Caleb Williams and Drake May, but you got Jaden Daniels, you got Bo Nix, you got JJ McCarthy, Shedeur Sanders, if he comes out in this class, Michael Penix Jr., right? And I'm just rolling off the top of my head these quarterbacks that could be, at least consider within the top 50. And that's not always the case, even for that position. So quarterback, very intriguing. Wide receiver is loaded. And I know it feels like we say that every year, but just to give you guys context of where we're at here, I think I'm probably going to have 4 at least wide receivers that would have been wide receiver 1 last year in last year's draft before I got to Jackson Smith-Njigba, who I liked a lot, but I'll let you know, I'm kind of going through a lot of these final film reviews now, and I like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State more than I like Jackson Smith-Njigba when it was all said and done. So it's like those are 2 guys who are just coming from the same program. And that's not even counting guys like Malik Neighbors from LSU, Brian Thomas from LSU, Romo Dunze from Washington, Keon Coleman from Florida State. And it's like all of those guys might end up being that caliber of a wide receiver 1 when I get to my final grades. But wide receivers absolutely loaded. I know we say that every year, but this year specifically, it's a lot of fun. Corner, I like the depth of this class. I don't think there is, I really loved Devon Witherspoon last year. I love Christian Gonzalez as well. Those guys were top 10 guys on my board when it was all said and done. I don't know if I'm going to have a corner on the top 10 of my board, but that's not to say mid first round, late first round, and then throughout day 2, there's not going to be a lot of really good guys to like, because I think that that's the case too. So maybe not as star-studded at the top for the cornerback class, but a lot of guys to like there. And then edge rusher too. I just think that that's the last class that I would highlight as a premium in this draft. You've got 4 or 5 guys that are all within the first round conversation that could be year 1 impact players.
It's crazy to think about the predictions and analysts talking about the top 3 picks in the draft could already be set. It just kind of depends on the order. Are you in that camp that regardless of how it falls and the teams that are there, Caleb, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to unequivocally be the first 3 picks in the draft? Like, give me a percentage on that if you could. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, so it's fine. I think that the one who would actually maybe mess that up might be Caleb Williams. Because I look at those other 3, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the easiest eval in the world. I think that he is going to get top 5 grades from basically every team in the NFL. And so if you don't get one of those quarterbacks, or if you are not a quarterback needy team, you're probably going to go with him. Although it's kind of wild to say that given how talented Olu Fashanu and Joe Alt are, the offensive tackles from Notre Dame and Penn State, who I also think could be top 5 caliber players. But I think that it's pretty clear cut with May, with Caleb Williams, and then with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that May is going to get a lot of Justin Herbert comps, right? You just look at the overall arm talent, what kind of a playmaker he is, how he's got that elusiveness with him. He can make some things happen with his legs, but also he's got a rocket of an arm. He's had the most big time throws that we've had in college football over the last couple of years from our data at PFF. So, I mean, this is a guy who absolutely knows how to put the ball in fantastic situations and be a franchise type of a quarterback. Caleb Williams has done things that no other quarterback has done over the last 2 years. There's no doubt about it. But how he plays in structure, how he takes care of the ball, if anything, the situation that might mess up those 3 players being 1, 2, and 3 in some order would just be if some teams are really out on Caleb because of how he turns the ball over, things like that. I don't think that's going to be the case, but it feels as though if something's going to disrupt that 1, 2, 3 between those 3 names, I guess that would be the area where it's maybe weakest.
It's wild, and it often happens, right? I mean, you see these prospects that are tabbed like can't miss, generational going into a college football season, and then the rigors of that season, it just takes things back to reality. And it feels like that's happened to these quarterbacks. Now, with that being said, and Trevor, it feels like, you're a little in line with that. But as far as how it pertains to Kyler Murray, it feels, people are turning once they're seeing Kyler Murray over this 4-game stretch since he's returned from this ACL injury, that the Cardinals would be best set to move forward with K1 as their quarterback. How do you feel about that? Or do you think that it's still in play that they could pivot to a rookie contract for the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think that last part that you said is the trickiest part, right? Because the most advantageous thing that any franchise could have in football, maybe even in sports, is a starting caliber franchise type of quarterback on a rookie contract. It just gives you so much flexibility to build out the rest of your roster. And with Kyler signed long-term, He is one of the best quarterbacks that we have in the league. Top 15, top 10. I don't care where you put him. It doesn't matter. He is somebody who can go out there and win you football games. He was playing at an MVP level before he got hurt. So I think that the ceiling of what he can bring to the table is worth that kind of a contract. But when you look at that versus the rest of the roster, are you going to be paying Kyler the majority of his money while the team's not good enough to compete? Because that's the question that you really have to answer when it comes to one of these guys versus Kyler. Because honestly, in a vacuum, I'm taking Kyler Murray every time because he has proven that he can win and play at a very high level in the pros. And I think that Kyler is extremely talented. And so you look at these, any quarterback, not just Drake May or Caleb Williams, this isn't really a knock on them or a shot at them at all, but they're college players. They haven't played in the pros yet. And for as much as we look at some of these guys, even Marvin Harrison Jr., and we say, oh, sure thing, he's going to be a surefire guy, surefire all-pro, Hall of Fame, whatever it is, the NFL draft is a game of risk. I mean, that's just what it is. And so when you take that risk into consideration, in a vacuum, you'd take Kyler over a guy that's completely unproven at the pro level. But where he is in his contract, ultimately Monti Ford or whoever has to make the big decision of, is the rest of our team lined up correctly to where we can have that big turnaround? And I'll tell you, I thought that Arizona, I understand they haven't won a lot of football games this year, but they've been a lot more competitive than I thought that they were going to be going into the season. First-year head coach in Jonathan Gannon, didn't have your franchise quarterback, got rid of Colt McCoy before the season even started, so it felt like the tank was on before the games even got kicked off. I looked at that roster and I was like, man, you got trench needs on offensive and defensive side of the ball. You got playmakers that need to emerge. The secondary needs a lot of help. And I thought that this team was going to look terrible. That's not been the case. They're at least looking really competitive for what they have on paper here. And that, to me, actually gives me a lot more faith in, hey, you know what? You got a top 3 pick here. You go out to get yourself a Marvin Harrison Jr., pair him with Kyler Murray, go get a defensive stud later in the first round, continue to build out the rest of I would say the backbone of the roster as the picks go on throughout the rest of this draft. And like, man, all of a sudden you're slingshotting things a lot quicker than maybe it was anticipated that Arizona would be able to compete. So that's a very long-winded answer into kind of the Kyler Murray question as we're discussing a lot of that stuff right now.
I want to preface this question with the responses. I do not feel this way, but there are a segmented part of the Cardinal fan base watching Will Anderson Jr. and how he performs right now, and subsequently Houston's pick not being the top 10 darling that we thought once upon a time, and said, well, did the Cardinals make a mistake trading down out of 3 last year, not taking Will Anderson Jr., taking Paris Johnson, and they've got a first and a third from Houston in 2024. Paris Johnson Jr. has not missed a snap this year, has been, I would say, rock solid. Had some up and down games like all tackles do, but like, assess that situation, because Will Anderson Jr., I think, started a little slower, and now he's kicking ass and taking names every Sunday. Like, do you feel like the Cardinals would like a mulligan on that?
I don't personally.
Okay.
I think that they made the right move. I mean, Will was always going to be a stud. He was one of the very few blue chip players that you had last year that, sure, I mean, you maybe had the opportunity to get your hands on. And for that particular draft class, you could have, patted yourself on the back and say, hey, we came away with one of the better players in the class. But I still think that could be the case with Paris Johnson. And I think that what they did for where they are, you've got to like the maneuvers of them moving up and back and having that kind of confidence. First and foremost, I think it shows you that your GM understands the game of the NFL draft. And that would give me a lot of confidence as a fan. 2, you trade back and then you trade back up and you go get a piece that you really needed. I think Paris Johnson Jr. is going to be a really good offensive tackle in this league. I do. And, when you talk about how a guy performs in his rookie year, the most difficult position in the game to play as a rookie is quarterback. I think that's at the top of the list. But then I would say offensive tackle and cornerback are then those next 2 positions. So for a talented offensive lineman to have some ups and downs, not just early on, but throughout their rookie season. I mean, we see that all the time. Andrew Thomas is the recent example for the New York Giants. I mean, he was not good coming out of the gate to start his career, and now he's one of the best young left tackles in the game. So I think that that's not anything to worry about. I would, for as good as Will Anderson has been, I still think the Cardinals went about things the right way, because you look at it this year and, okay, So it's not a Chicago situation where they have the number 1 pick and the number 5 overall pick. You've got number 3 right now, and you've got a pick that is probably going to be anywhere from 15 to 25. You're happy with that. In this class, for, as we said, as deep as this first round group is with talented players at really premium positions, I mean, not only do you not regret it, I think that you're you are smiling ear to ear with the 2 guys that you're going to be able to add here in this first round, and then knowing how deep that this class is into the second and third rounds with those extra picks too.
With hindsight being 2020, and you obviously gave your thoughts on Paris Johnson Jr., they do go with the edge rusher out of LSU, BJ Ojulari, after they trade down the Will Levis pick. Tennessee at 41, they get BJ. He's emerging here later in the season. We like what we've seen from a healthy Michael Wilson. I know he's missed 4 games already his rookie year. Garrett Williams has been pretty sticky in the slot. The overall thoughts so far through, 13 weeks of Monti Ossenfort's first class?
I mean, again, I really like these dudes. You know, when you look at an NFL draft, sometimes it can be tempting to look at the entire list and be like, all right, there's only like 2 or 3 names that are really big difference makers. But okay, well, the further you get back into a draft class, a lot more difficult it is to hit on these guys as potential starters. And so for you to come away with Paris Johnson, who I think is obviously a starter for them, is going to be a future starter for them. I think BJ Ojulari is as well, although I figured that it would be a little bit of an adjustment period given that he was a speed rusher in college. Okay, well, if you're winning with speed and athleticism and bend at the college level, it's going to take you a little bit of time because, maybe the speed, the gear that you used in college could work against college left tackles. You probably are going to have to, throw a different type of pitch or a different type of tempo or a different type of move at NFL offensive tackles. Maybe you could beat them with speed to the outside once, but a lot of the best offensive tackles in the NFL, the ones that are starting long-term, all right, you beat them to the outside once, they're not going to let you beat them again. So then you got to be able to throw something else at them. I thought that was going to be the journey of BJ Ojulari, and we're kind of seeing that this year. So I think that that's a great pick as well. Garrett Williams is somebody who, if he was fully healthy throughout his college career, especially for those last 2 seasons, I think he's getting drafted higher. I really do. I think that he has really good cover corner ability. So I like him. And then Michael Wilson's my dude. He was a top 10 receiver for me last year. And so injuries, unfortunately, were a story of his career when he was at Stanford. But when he was healthy, his threat percentage, which is something that we use over at PFF basically to describe wide receiver usage, like when you were on the field, when you are running a route, how often does the team target you, was consistently very high, especially on money downs. When they wanted to have a completion, when they needed something, when they were building out their passing attack, they were consistently doing it around Michael Wilson. So the fact that he is playing well is not a surprise to me. And when I look at those things, as well as Keitrell Clark, man, I know Keitrell Clark is somebody who up and down for him, but I mentioned how difficult it is to play corner, especially for a smaller corner. I love the fact that he's been able to get in there, not look too overwhelmed, continue to play confident. And when I watched him last year, I thought that he could be a steal of the draft as a nickel corner in the league. And so I still have that high hopes for him.
Given the amount of teams currently right now, Trevor, in the top 10 that desperately need a quarterback, like the Giants are in there. I would say even the Commanders, the Titans, right? The Raiders, there's all these quarterback needy teams. And then there's the Cardinals, who we both feel like you're going to stick with Kyler Murray. That's the right decision. How many quarterbacks could you envision going top 10? And who is that next 1 to 2 guys immediately following the top 2 that you could say like, hey, at the end of the day, this guy's going to have an Anthony Richardson-like ascension over the spring?
Yeah. So, I just did a mock draft, and this is the big question surrounding any mock draft that you do is, okay, where are the quarterbacks going? Because every NFL draft goes as the quarterbacks go. And so for this particular class, you have the 2 guys at the very top, which are the obvious. We believe that, I would tell you that if you're a betting person out there, 1 to 2 next year is going to be these 2 quarterbacks, just because that's how business is done in the NFL draft. If you believe that these are franchise changers, you're going to take them at the very top. So beyond these top 2, the guy that I like the most to be that next quarterback as QB3 is actually Jayden Daniels, who I think should win the Heisman Trophy this weekend. I think he has been the most outstanding player in college football to the definition of the award. And when you look at what he's been able to do at LSU, it's been fantastic. And what I love the most about Jayden Daniels is that I didn't care about him at all as an NFL draft prospect like 3 years ago. And when he was at Arizona State, he was kind of he was a classic college quarterback, had really good mobility to him, decently strong arm, but didn't really read the field much. If you covered up his first read, he was taking off to run with it. And he made some electric plays and he was fun as a college quarterback.
Yeah.
Then he gets to LSU. And that first year that he was at LSU, you could tell he really honed in on taking care of the football. And he had one of the lowest turnover-worthy play rates in the country because of it. But this was last year. But the big time throws were also down. The average depth of target was down, and he wasn't pushing the ball down the field. So you're like, all right, okay, cool. He's taking care of the football, but he's not exactly doing what he needs to do as a passer to go win you those big games. This year, he took the lessons in decision-making that he learned in 2022, and then he challenged himself to be a better big-time thrower, and holy cow, has he been. He has some of the most big-time throws that we have in the country. The turnover-worthy play rate is up a little bit, but nothing close to what it used to be. He's going through his progressions. He's comfortable in the pocket. He's getting to that second and third read. He is not just one read. If it's not there, I'm ducking and running it. But he's got that great athleticism with his legs as well. For everything that Daniels brings to the table, I feel like that gives him an edge above some of these other quarterbacks that I mentioned, a J.J. McCarthy, a Bo Nix, a Michael Penix, a Shedeur Sanders. So I think that if there's any of those guys that I would take in the top 10 after Caleb Williams or Drake May, it would be Jayden. And I think that he is to me, the big wild card in the equation because, like you mentioned, you can make arguments for the Washington Commanders, the New York Giants, the New Orleans Saints, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Las Vegas Raiders to all maybe take a quarterback. But if there's only one guy to go get, is that going to make for a bidding war? Are some of those teams just going to bow out of that quarterback market before we even get to draft weekend? That's going to be the big question to answer.
Been so generous with your time. Do you mind doing a quick 2-round mock draft with us? Just Cardinals?
Ooh, sure. Yeah. All right, let me pull up the PFF mock draft simulator. Just
we can pull it up on our screen. We can all do
I got it right here, Trev.
Ooh, okay. All right.
All right, here we go.
We're prepared for this. This is something we wanted to get the master in on. So we've got it here. We're already in the first round.
Beautiful.
Cardinals, Pats, Washington, as you mentioned, the Commanders, and maybe wanting the quarterback. Do you entertain trying to drop back a spot, or do you just take the sure thing?
Yeah, I mean it. You got to be very confident that they're not going to take the guy that you want. And I wouldn't do a trade at this point in time just because it's hard for me to really walk through all the variables. Draft weekend, of course, you're picking number 3 overall. Your phone's going to be wide open. Monti is very clearly somebody who's not afraid to have the conversations and pick up the phone and talk about some trade deals and seeing something that could work. Obviously, if you are moving back down from only 3 to number 4, if Washington's moving up, they're probably moving up to go get a quarterback, but maybe they're moving up to go get the offensive tackle that they want. Maybe, Monti could say to them like, hey, Giants are calling and, they actually want your offensive tackle. So if you want this guy, you got to come up and get him. That's, I think, the fun game of negotiation. But I won't do a trade back, although I think you always entertain it. I would go Marvin Harrison Jr. here. I know that this is not the most pressing need for them, but this is the biggest difference maker that you could get at this point in time, I think.
3 wide receivers on their roster beyond this season. Hollywood Brown is kind of gone away since Kyler Murray returned. I think it's actually a great pick for the Arizona Cardinals. And Johnny and I talk about it all the time. Johnny likes to lean on this, and it's true. You can sell Marvin Harrison Jr. jerseys the next day. I mean, he's going to get the fan base.
Yeah.
They don't have enough players like that. Like we've had a Trey McBride renaissance here. It's been fantastic, but we can only sell, enough 85s and number 1s here. They need star power. I think the middle of their roster has improved dramatically, but the top end, the top 10% where you're going to be able to compete with a Seattle or, the Rams, and suddenly, Niners roster is loaded with star players, you need to hit on a couple blue chippers.
Yep. I agree with you.
All right. We're at that Houston pick as it stands right now. What is that, 18th overall?
Yeah.
Some really, really intriguing prospects here, Trevor.
Can you scroll up? Who did? Let me see the run on edge rushers. I feel like edge rushers.
Yeah.
You guys got screwed a little bit here.
It was tough. Chop's
Holy
gone.
Cow.
Newton's a fantastic prospect. I know you're high on him, as are we. He's gone. Jared Verse is gone.
Oh,
Dallas
my goodness.
Turner is gone. Yeah.
Wow.
We're going to have to.
You even got Braylon Trice off the board. They're doing you guys dirty out here.
Oh,
Holy cow. No.
What about this kid from Oregon State? What can you tell us about him?
Oh, so I love Talize Fuaga. He's one of my favorite tackles in the class. I mean, this guy's an absolute ass kicker. He's got one of the highest run blocking grades that we've had in PFF this year. It's basically him and Joe Alt that have been going back and forth for the highest overall blocking grade of anybody. Now, he is not the pass protector that I would say certainly Ola Fashanu or Joe Alt are, maybe even behind a JC Latham, just because, the footwork and just how much ground he covers with his footwork in pass sets. It's not as impressive as it is for those other guys, but he reminds me of another offensive lineman I was really high on last year, and that is Darnell Wright from Tennessee, where, okay, just because he's maybe not as flexible, as, fancy with his footwork and pass protection, he always loves to bring the fight to the pass rushers that are coming at him. And he's got so much strength and he's got so much violence with his hands that even that is disruptive and has made him into a really, really solid pass protector. So maybe not the smooth mover of those other guys, but he is really nice. He's played right tackle for Oregon State, so he's not a left tackle. So if you wanted, is Humphreys probably going to be gone after this year?
He's under contract, and Paris played. Well, he's at right tackle now. He played left tackle at Ohio State.
Right.
It feels like if they wanted to, they could pull a maneuver on this. And I mean, could they kick him inside for a year? Could he play guard?
He can definitely play guard. Some people think he's better at guard.
Okay.
I mean, I'm one of those that would tell you, dude, he played well enough at tackle this year. I am always of the camp of, if there's a fringe guy like that, I let you fail at tackle first. Like, show me you can't play tackle. And footwork is one of those things that, all right, if you just can't cover the ground, if you can't be left on an island as an offensive tackle, maybe we'll kick you inside. But if you kick him inside, man, he's gonna be people moving for you. So look, it sounds like you guys would love to go that direction. You don't have to fight me too much on it. He's one of my favorite guys in this class, so I would absolutely pick him.
I want to ask a quick question because Bo says I'm grossly irresponsible with even entertaining the idea of 2 wide receivers. Is that an irresponsible play? Marvin Harrison Jr. and if they've got Keon Coleman, let's say as a top 12 pick on their board, top 10 player on their board, is there at least a part of you that's tempted to do that, or is it just this team has so many needs you can't mess around with that?
So how many? They have 2 third-round picks, right?
They have 3.
Okay, so they have a second-round pick, and then they have 3 third-round picks.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be picking a wide receiver here.
Gotcha.
No,
okay,
I wouldn't be.
Fair enough.
The draft is too deep, and you can get wide receiver often to where if you have any sort of trench need or another premium need, obviously like pass rush or offensive tackle, to me you got to go that direction, knowing that you will be able to get another wide receiver at some point in time, maybe even right here.
So now we're here in the second round, the last pick we're going to make here with Trevor Sikkema of PFF. The Cardinals, 1 pick in the second round, and then, as we mentioned, the 3 picks in the third round. So a lot of needs. We just addressed the offense, and the defense certainly has a lot of those on the defensive front. In the interior, always could go a premium position at the pass rush spot and cornerback. What do you like here for Monti Ossenfort and crew?
I mean, this is beautiful dilemma to have for them, because you have obviously wide receivers on the board. If you wanted to take that chance, these guys are still available. A speed guy like Xavier Worthy, if Hollywood Brown is out of there,
he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you get Worthy in there, and that's boom. You've got somebody who could easily stretch the field for you. Jalen Polk, who has also had an unbelievable year at Washington, one of the best contested catchers and deep ball wide receivers that we've had in college football. The fact that Terrion Arnold is here, I was telling myself, I was like, okay, if we go offensive tackle at 18, I'm probably going to go edge rusher. I probably have to, but with Arnold being here, Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama gets a lot of the hype, but Arnold is certainly really burst onto the scene this season. You can see some of those late grades, like how well he has been in coverage. And you want to talk about a guy who's got the athleticism to be able to stick with wide receivers at the NFL level. There have been times at the end of the season where he's looked more and more confident that he's running the routes for the wide receivers before they even break. And you see a lot of interceptions and a lot of forced incompletions because of it. So I'm honestly between Arnold and his teammate, Chris Braswell, near the bottom. So Braswell is a senior at Alabama. He's a former 5-star, I believe. Took him a little bit of time because he came into Alabama as like a heavy-handed defensive end, like more of like a 5 technique, 3-point stance kind of a guy. But at Alabama, they do a lot of they do a lot of 3-4 stuff. So instead of having him gain weight and be more of a 4-eye 3-4 defensive end, they've trained him more to be a stand-up outside linebacker type of an edge rusher. He's finally really comfortable in that role. For as good as Dallas Turner is, Chris Braswell actually leads Alabama in total pressures this season. So another dude who is a really good athlete. I think I'll go Arnold just because he is higher on my board. I like him a lot. To me, he's like immediately CB1, and you get Arnold on one side, Garrett Williams on the other, Keitrell Clark in the slot. Like, now we're cooking, baby. So I like that, and I think the secondary is really nice at that point.
Let's see how we did. They're going to grade it. Are we grading with a curve because Trevor's guiding us? It's like we've got our teacher side by side when we're filling out the Scantron here. But I'm going to tell you right now, I would sign up for this draft tomorrow if possible.
This is come on, look at that, baby. That's an A. You love that. It's so it's so funny when I do, because I do a lot of like written like team mocks, team centric stuff. 5-round Cardinals mock, 5-round Buccaneers mock, whatever it is. And we'll always use this image to kind of promote the mock draft simulator. And there are times where I like a certain player for a certain team, but they might be a little bit further down on the overall ranking. So it's like it'll give me like a D or an F or something for one of those picks, and it's like but it's me, like it's my rankings that are doing me dirty here with this pick. So it is always funny when it kind of spits out something like that. But that was fun. That was good stuff.
It's unbelievable to get to do a mock draft with Trevor Sikema of PFF with the PFF mock draft simulator. If you haven't dabbled with that, get on the website now. Of course, check out Trev's great work. Follow him on Twitter at Tampa Bay Trey. Trevor, happy holidays, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Anytime. This is a lot of fun.
See you in Indy, my friend. Such good stuff. Directly to the source. I think PFF's big board, and I'm not just saying this because Trevor's a friend of the program, it is so lockstep, I feel like, with where the game of football is headed. And yes, it's analytically based, but at the same time, look at the information that you get. Tell me you can find that just about anywhere else. Just breaking down individual prospects by grade, individual grades per games. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Like, you can look at a box score and say, that player played well, that player didn't play well. But to go in depth, and we know he was a fan of Paris Johnson Jr. last year. Yeah. We know that some of these mid-rounders that have popped for the Cardinals, Trevor was all in on. So it's great to be able to bring him back.
No doubt about it. And to get insight about Braswell, and how he matches up with Dallas Turner, who's going to be, we saw him go in the teens earlier in the draft. And
yeah,
if Braswell's sitting there for Monti Ossenfort right for the pick-in, or Armstead, where one player is getting most of the spotlight. And if you do your research like Trev does, and of course Monti Ossenfort, who's just an absolute tape hound, he's going to know that those are going to be guys at premium positions that can make impact for the Arizona Cardinals and immediately transform this roster and infuse it with talent. I mean, Braswell is a 5-star coming out of high school, and sometimes that doesn't matter. But the fact that he was able to transition, kind of go through a change at the college level, and then come out on the other side still a top prospect, that's pretty impressive. So we love having our guy Trev as part of our inner circle, Johnny. But of course, you always need that inner circle.
We do. You talk about premium prospects. How about premium gas at not a premium price with our friends at Circle K? It's America's thirst stop. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. I'm talking pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks, and more. Join the inner circle. What are you waiting for? By downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
Absolutely. And if you're in the market for new flooring, it's, you're not changing up your floors that much, right? Not as much as you're filling up at the gas tank or filling up your gas tank. But it is an important decision to make. And sometimes it can be frustrating. It can be tough. But with Empire today, they're going to make it easy for you because they've got an all-star staff of people that are going to help you out, make the right decision for you. And it's going to be quicker. It's going to be more convenient than those big box floor stores that you got somebody that's just coming walking off the street that just filled out an application and probably just got hired on the spot, has no idea what they're talking about as far as flooring. And here's the cool part. You can use their virtual floor designer, and you can see exactly what their floors are going to look like in your apartment, your condo, your house. Check out what's going on over at EmpireToday.com and put it EmpireToday/PHNX. You can save and get $350 off at EmpireToday.com/PHNX. Schedule a free in-home estimate today and get that $350 off. Thanks to us at PHNX. Big fan of Empire Today, Johnny.
I'm a fan of Trevor's, and I listen. It's not because I agree with a lot of what he says. He's got Joel right there as the fourth or fifth best player in this draft. I also like the reassurance, Bo, that this is probably not the draft to take a top 10 corner, or at least a top 5 corner. Like, it felt like there was momentum with Witherspoon and even Gonzalez, who fell last year. Those are premier guys. Cardinals were mocked to take Christian Gonzalez top 3 for a long time last offseason. It feels like that this pick come next spring, barring something unforeseen, God forbid, with the quarterbacks. Hopefully we're closer and closer to putting that to bed. It's going to be either Marvin Harrison Jr. or it's going to be a line of scrimmage player. It almost feels like that's where we're headed. And sure, maybe a second tier wide receiver can come in and force the issue. But like I like what Trevor said. You can get a good wide receiver, obviously at 3, but also 18 or 34. You can get quality depth at those positions. But I look at this tackle class and it's like, man, if you can't get Marvin, I want to emphasize this to our audience, not that you guys need educating. There's nothing wrong with one of these 2 tackles for this franchise. I know it's not sexy. It's not going to sell jerseys. Yeah. Paris Johnson Jr. has been incredibly solid for this team. The amount of impact this could have for the next 10 years if they get Fashanu or Alt next to Paris Johnson Jr. on the opposite side, I think it's almost as big as Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm ready to almost take that plunge, Bo.
Yeah, you should, right? I mean, you're following through with your New Year's resolution. You're changing your life habits, right? Yeah. You're working out, you're eating healthy, and you're doing things for the long haul. Where a wide receiver that's making big plays for you, that's exciting, right? But this is something that can set you up for sustained success. And when you got a guy and you made the decision to move forward with Kyler Murray as your quarterback, and you're going to see that you got to make, car payments finally. And it's going to be, in the form of $50 million in cap hit each and every season, barring, restructure. And hopefully there's going to be some sort of restructure at some point, but still it's going to be a hefty price tag. It's to make sure that he's going to be upright and that you're going to have somebody, or you're going to bookend the tackle position and then be able to fill out the rest of your offensive line and not have to pay a premium for that. Because that's where teams really do have to, if they miss on that or they didn't, plan for it accordingly, that's where they're going to free agency and they're just throwing free agent dollars at guys who probably aren't worth it. Yeah.
Was there anything else that Trevor said that sparked interest or intrigue with you? Because obviously we don't know until the draft goes down, but the emphasis on edge rushers for a lot of those teams, I think, is something to keep an eye on. It does feel like, though, that the top 2 tackles are better than any of the top edge rushers as of right now.
It does, but then when we're looking at, and this is just a mock draft, right? But I'm curious to see if Monti Ossenfort has the same feel as he did with the top prospects at their position. He certainly did his first draft with the tackle position. He had his finger on the pulse of it and realized, I got to get back up there. If I want to franchise tackle in Paris Johnson Jr., I've got to get back into the top 10. I got to get close to the top 5, and he got up to 6, right? When we see, does he feel it out and see that there could be a run on edge or tackle? Does he move again? Does he get that? And does he start to package some picks to move back up the draft board? Or does he feel confident because he's got his full scouting staff in place and feel confident, okay, we miss on this guy, we're confident that we can stick and pick, or we can wait later and get another, our franchise left or right tackle, whatever they want to do, or that edge rusher, to couple with BJ Ojulari. It's really going to be fascinating to see how that plays out. But Cardinals they're loaded with picks, and I'd be shocked as anybody is if they just stuck and picked with all of them or most of them. With their first 6 picks, I wonder how much moving and shaking they're going to do.
Speaking of loaded, how about loading up your wallet with some winnings via our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos? We're going to be back there a week from Sunday for our home watch party. In the meantime, Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Nobody does it better. They offer authentic and an immersive experience with unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement that you won't find, Bo, anywhere else in the desert. They have set the bar that high. They've got a state-of-the-art gaming floor with over 800 slot machines, 15 blackjack tables, a live table game. How about, not to mention, Arizona's largest sportsbook casino? We've been in it. It's fantastic. The dining ranges from upscale to approachable. Hey, in Arizona, it's always pool season. Grab a cocktail, have a steak. If you've got an adventure that awaits you, do it with our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Check them out at playatgila.com, Bo, for more details.
Yeah, if you like feeling alive, you can certainly do that at Gila River Casinos at Wild Horse Pass. Also, you can just do it in the form of spending $1 at your local Circle K and getting yourself a scratch off, a holiday scratcher from Arizona Lottery. It makes you feel alive every time you get your favorite coin out, or just one, whatever's in your pocket or whatever you can find around the house. We actually use a piece of a chair that's just it's just, and I scratch off with that. You can find anything.
That seems safe.
It is safe. I mean, I got to make sure my tetanus shots are where they are and up to date. But scratching off, man, it's fun. It's the perfect gift for anybody. If you look at somebody, maybe it's like your old man, your mom, and you're like, they're not gonna like a scratcher. Just try them. Everybody loves a scratcher, no doubt about it. And holiday scratchers, they're here for everyone on your list. Scratchers start at just $1. Spend that $1 and you can get top prizes up to $500,000. Go buy your holiday scratchers today from Arizona Lottery. Follow them on your socials at AZ Lottery.
The only deal that's better than a $1 scratcher, I believe, is a diehard membership to gophnx.com. And how about a half off, folks? $59.99 through the weekend. Pick it up right now. The diehard membership you have been waiting for 12 calendar months is here. And in the process, Bo, pick up a free hat and or shirt every single year you're a diehard. So you're getting the membership half off, and you're getting to pick out a free piece of merch, and you get unlimited access to everything at gophnx.com, and 20% off everything from the merchandise locker moving forward, and exclusive access to the member Discord with myself, Bo Brack, the PHNX Cardinals, the PHNX Anything community, the beat of your choice, which is hopefully this one. Check it out right now. $59.99 diehard memberships. I'm going to tell you right now, get your membership in. Take a screen capture, right? There it is. So you go and you sign up with your membership. Instead of $79.99, it's $59.99. Send it to Bo and I on Twitter. We're going to retweet it. We want to shout you out. I'm going to tell you right now, the testimonials, I'm not just saying this because I'm part of the family, from diehards, it's like once you get it, you'll never go back, right? It's like once you cut maybe cable or whatever, you're never going back. That's what a diehard membership can mean to you as we hit draft season. Coyotes are red fucking hot. The Suns, they lost in the in-season tournament, NBA title aspirations, all that and more. GoPHNX.com. Become a diehard, Bo.
Watch your profanities. You got, I'm going to hike up to the top of Camelback Mountain and shout your name out if you become a diehard, and tweet us, in the next couple of days. $59.99. I mean, this hat, what is it about? It's going to run you about $30. That's half the price right there. You're getting this for free. So you're basically getting a diehard membership for about $30. You get a free t-shirt.
And you get 20% off, I think, for the rest of the year.
It's unreal. It's great. Fantastic deal. PHNX locker, of course, gophnx.com. Bye week is upon us. What do we got? What do you got? Are you going to reintroduce yourself to your family, Johnny? You can say, hi, I'm your father.
Hello. I'm around once in a while. I'm here. I am not at a sports book or a casino this weekend. We can spend some time together, read some stories, maybe put up some Christmas decor. But I mean, we've earned it. This bye week is grossly too late in the season, but at the same time, it tees up the home stretch, does it? Now we got a month left of football to play. And again, I'll take a month of football with a 3-10 team over no football at all. So bring it on. I'm ready to see Kyler Murray and company. Trey McBride, Pro Bowl berth, maybe pursuing that, pushing for that, push that draft pick down. I'm all for all the positives with this team on the field the last month of the season.
Yeah, I think I'm going to spend my weekend just giving you the cold shoulder and silent treatment for posting on Twitter our reaction to Trey McBride getting drafted. How dare you bring up those receipts?
You know what? We're humble people. We have immense humility. I'm one of the most humble people you'll ever meet. And Bo was surprised. Frank Sanders liked the pick. I did not like the pick at the time. So, we like to poke fun and have fun at each other. I said, wouldn't it be fun if we post our reaction to the Trey McBride pick from 2 years ago? Obviously, Bo didn't think it was funny. I apologize, Bo.
Yeah, I have no sense of humor. I can't poke fun at myself.
You are dead inside. That's true.
That's right. I'm as narcissistic as they come and egotistical.
I always loved the pick. It was my favorite pick. They should have taken him with the Hollywood pick. Yeah.
4 more games to go. We're going to start previewing the home stretch for this Arizona Cardinals team, the last quarter of the season come Monday. But in between now and then, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it around. Tell your friends about PHNX Cardinals. Tell them, hey, you love Cardinals football? Well, here's the podcast for you. Subscribe where you find podcasts, of course, and have a great weekend. Absolutely just have the best weekend. So thankful, so grateful for everybody that tunes in, interacts with us on social media, and of course, chats on a daily basis here on the YouTube channel. So thankful for that. Have a great weekend. Try to enjoy it without Cardinals football, and we'll talk to you Monday. For Johnny Venerable, Damon Dog, I'm Bo Brack. See you soon.
We all silly like the mayor.